Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Well, this is one of the best neo-vintage watches that Omega has issued in a long time. Simple, versatile, handsome, and evocative. This is the Omega Seamaster Railmaster, 39.7 millimeters in stainless steel, a watch that I can only describe as one of the best vintage tributes of the last half decade. You can see it and you can own it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this evocative timepiece, with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Omega Seamaster Railmaster. Now you can see on my wrist 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. This is a handsome piece. Now it's not a perfect reference to the CK2914 Railmaster of the late 1950s. In many ways it's an act of imagination, a watch that has some vintage cues without being completely slavish to the past. Now you can see it is a modern-ish size at 39.7 millimeters across the round of the case. It has no crown guards in true vintage fashion, and even the crown itself, if you can see, has a sort of conical profile with the large end facing out. The watch is reasonably slim, however. 12.8 millimeters thick. I'm happy to say that this one, with a generously sloped conical bezel, will slide easily underneath the dress cuff. And from lug to lug, this watch is compatible with a broad range of wrists at 46.8 millimeters across the wrist. Now you'll note the watch does feature a rather, I would call it, extravagant strap, and that's just on the basis of the amount of material visible. It visually extends the watch across the wrist, but make no mistake, you can wear this watch easily on a wrist as small as 13 centimeters in circumference, in my estimation. Now, a different strap would make it perhaps a bit more compact, but you're going to want this strap. Now, the first thing I can tell you about this strap is what I can't fully express in equivalent terms, which is to say, it has the smell of a new Mercedes-Benz or Audi interior. The leather is so supple, so rich, so far beyond the grade you expect of a calfskin watch strap in this price point. I don't know how to express it, but when I took this watch out of its sleeve, I was just overwhelmed by the richness of the aroma, and that's before I even get into the feel, which is downright silky. It almost feels too soft. Butter is the word that comes to mind. You also note that it's a handsome strap. Now it's sort of a leather NATO if you look at the way it's assembled, which means it adds a little bit of stack height on the wrist, and yeah, it's got a little bit of a tendency to flare out, but because it is so soft, so supple, you won't really complain. The more the merrier with this particular material choice, and it is grand. Now you can see there is a handsome, if minimalist, contrasting stitch that you can see periodically across the expanse of leather, and then a satin finished stainless steel pin buckle because, you know, vintage inspired. Handsome, understated, makes for easy adjustments, but this watch is all about the strap, dial, and the case. Let's talk about the case. It's subtle, it's compact, it's almost vintage in its size because it's a versatile, one might call a unisex size today, and I would be proud to wear it because there isn't a single garish, high-polished gleam across the entire expanse of this beautiful beveled case. Now you can see satin-finished flanks, satin-finished bevels. There's a sharp cleft that runs the flank of the case and gives it a little bit of a masculine distinction and definition. Very much like a Seamaster or a Speedmaster. If I had to compare this watch to anything in the catalog, I would compare it size and style-wise to a mid-size Aquaterra. Now the dial is the highlight of the watch. You can see it's a vertical satin finish with a crosshair motif at center. All of the indices are a simulated patina luminova, and while I don't always love faux patina, here the color contrast with the satin of the metal is simply gorgeous. I would not hesitate to recommend it. My position with faux patina is that it has to look good, and whatever vintage evocative qualities it may have are secondary. This looks good. You can also note that charming lollipop style seconds hand, and then there's a railroad style minutes and seconds track outboard. The dial is also minimally calibrated. Rolex likes to write books on its dial. Here it's Omega, an almost ghosted Railmaster, and then coaxial and master chronometer, which this watch certainly is. is, the lack of a date will appeal to purists and vintage mavens who perennially deride the conspiracy to implement a date on every variety of watch at every price point in every genre. Nice and clean, beautiful balance, and you have to love the quarter Arabics at 12, 3, 6, and 9. Now you can see the crown, as I mentioned earlier, is a little bit of a vintage style. It's broader outboard of the case than inboard. The back of the watch, truth be told, it doesn't have much to recommend it aesthetically, but I will show you for the sake of wanting a complete and thorough showcase of the timepiece. It's a Naiad caseback, which means it's designed to align perfectly top to bottom every time the case is placed back in, so you won't wind up with that hippocampus facing side to side instead of top to bottom. You can see it is a Naiad lock caseback, which is something Omega has implemented in the last few years. 150 meters water resistant and anti-magnetic. This does have the SI-14 silicon hairspring technology, so it's better described as amagnetic than anti-magnetic. And again, with 150 meters water resistance. Put it on a different strap, and this becomes a highly swimmable watch. Now, what's underneath that caseback is the Omega exclusive caliber 8806. It is a METAS certified master coaxial chronometer, which means it meets the COSC's timing specification, but it also undergoes fully cased up tests of resistances, power reserve, winding efficiency, water resistance, anti-magnetism. Everything that you would expect a fully cased up watch to endure, plus the COSC standards. That's what the METAS, or Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology standard is. So this is a METAS certified master chronometer. It features hacking seconds, so if you do unscrew that fashionable crown, you will be able to stop the balance, hold the seconds hand, and synchronize to a reference time. It does feature a free-sprung index and a full balance bridge, so in addition to being highly anti-magnetic or amagnetic and water resistant, it's also very shock resistant. It is a coaxial tri-level architecture, so longer maintenance intervals and better timing stability in the short and long terms. A handsome watch, an evocative watch, even a little bit of an original, as it doesn't correspond perfectly with any vintage Omega reference. This is very much a product of history and the imagination, and fabulous for it. See it and own it on our website.